And I'm here with
Matt Zone, and these are Project 5 breakdancers.
I'm Matt Zone, and this is Cleveland City Council. My name's Matt Zone. I'm a councilman for the city of Cleveland. I've been serving on city council for the past 10 and a half years. I'm fortunate to serve in the neighborhood where I was born and raised. In the summer of 1982, I went to visit my brother Marty, who lived in New York City. And he encouraged me one night to go travel down to West 42nd Street. And there was just all kinds of amazing things going on that street. But I did happen to stumble upon a group of young people who were dancing. They were breakdancing on a street corner on cardboard. And so that really kind of struck my eye as something that I wanted to learn. I came back to Cleveland determined to form my own breakdancing group. And in the fall of 1982, that's when I really started to learn how to breakdance and form, which would later become the Project 5 breakdancing group. A good friend of mine was Charlie Cortes, also known as DJ CC.
Matt approached me about putting a dance group together. Matt lived across the street from me, so it wasn't difficult to get together and discuss the matter.
Charlie told me about this young person who was really good friends with, named Sammy Rodriguez. He said, I need to introduce you to Sammy.
I was Matt's first employee. So he happened to see me dance, and he was like, you know what, it's time for us to start a group. Let's start a group.
You know what I remember about Sammy? He was a little kid back then. I mean, he had some good, like, up-rocking top moves.
Sammy had a lot of girlfriends, older girls, and just like chase after this little kid, and he's like 10 years old, and you have these girls fawning over him.
What are you supposed to do? Take the ball and roll with it.
Eventually, we met two other kids who formed Project 5, and that was Velez and Titi Nieves.
Louis, he brought smoothness. He was just smooth with everything he did.
And he could do everything. And everything he did was, he would always take it a notch up.
Titi was the creative mind. He would do a lot of the choreographing for us.
I used to do a little bit of everything. I used to do up-rocking a little bit, popping, waving, ticking.
And we added a gentleman named Donald Evans. He could do windmills faster and more fierce than just about anybody.
He was so much like stronger than everybody. I mean, he was like a man. When I first met Project 5, you know, you had Don Lewis, I believe Titi and Sammy at the time. And then Matt started recruiting guys that were good out of other groups.
I first started with my own local group. We were called the Electric Breakers. We were performing downtown Cleveland at the Terminal Tower, and a couple of my guys backed out, and Project 5 was performing in the same show. And then Matt looked at us and knew that our team was falling apart, and he scooped us up.
We call him Big Head Dave, and there was a reason for that. Back then he had a huge head, and I guess he still does. This kid can spin on his head nonstop. I mean, sometimes we would just be in amazement and try to count how many he does.
He'll take this little ball out, take his head off, and put his knee pad under there, put it on, and just sit there and spin for 3 days.
We wanted to add somebody who was small, somebody who was different, and we stumbled upon this young man. We called him Little Willie because when we met him, he was only 8 years old.
We were just watching him just flip, nonstop, like in circles.
And I was like, this is perfect.
Willie, he had the bullet. That was the head spin. I mean, he would spin, and it's like, he almost looked like a cordless drill. But when he landed, I know it hurt.
I figure I was their secret weapon in a way because I looked good as far as being short and young and was able to do some of the things that they were able to do.
My younger brother, Armando, wanted to go and see breakdancers. And we went to this bar called Harlow's, and Project 5 was there.
So they did their thing, and, you know, started breaking, and I decided to jump in.
He went up there, and, you know, he did a couple spins, he did a back spin, and did a couple, you know, dance moves.
From there, it's history.
He had it all. I mean, he was a quick study, and he was creative, and he was fearless. So I start leaving Harlow's with all my crew in the car.
And a bunch of girls pulled up next to us, and then we started talking to them. And then Matt's like, hey, let's pull over here.
And so we went into the lot, and again, I saw this woman who introduced me to this young kid, Armando, and she kind of struck my eye, and next thing I know, her and I exchanged phone numbers. And this woman later ended up becoming my girlfriend, who later ended up becoming my wife. And Michelle's been my life partner now 29 years, ever since that day when she said I mesmerized her on the dance floor at Harlow's teen night.
I had the huge 15-seater van, and all the gigs that we would go to after hours, BBC, if we would travel out of town. I had the van, so I would drive everybody.
She's pretty much our chauffeur. But she's a beautiful person. She's a sweetheart.
Me and Ace, we actually kind of went together in Project 5. He had some crazy windmills fast.
There was speed to him, there was a lot of different things to him like that, and I think Matt saw that. I would say Project 5 was what the Miami Heat are today. There was LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, which were Lewis and Don, and then the supporting cast, but it was Matt was Pat Riley building a team.
We started to get very well established, and I would cold call people all the time. I would call these nightclubs, hey, we're Project 5, acting like we were bigger than life.
There was a point where he kind of just took over the whole setting it up, getting gigs. He was really good at that, but I remember him breaking a lot.
I'm nice, I'm cool, the things I do, when I turn on my mind, start to commence, the girl to scream incompetent, but hold your ball to say the cloud, cause I'm the man who got the best.
He was weak. No, I'm just kidding.
There was a club called After Hour. That was our first gig, and this all started from there.
They were all neighborhood kids, so we were the biggest crowds there.
They were there to cheer us on, made us feel positive, made us do things that we thought we couldn't do.
Most of them never even left Cleveland proper, and the only time they got out of their little neighborhood, it was when they went out to perform.
We went to Ashland College. It was Dave Guido's sister who went to school there, and she got Matt to come with all the kids.
We were staying at the fraternity. It was a toilet paper fest.
We went crazy. I mean, we were pulling out couches in the hallway and running through and jumping.
We were probably out till like 4 in the morning, and we were 14, 15, maybe 16 years old the most.
The university really turned out. There was like 500 people there to see us perform.
They have all these college kids. You have little Willie doing like 25 flips.
Someone told Michelle to start throwing money out there.
They just threw a couple bucks out, and all of a sudden, all this money comes raining in.
Dollars and change and just money everywhere.
And I can see little Willie's eyes and Sammy Rodriguez's eyes, and they're just fixated on this cash.
A light went off in my head where I forgot about dancing and started collecting all the money.
We've been dancing for a year or two around the city, and there was all this talk about who was better. So somebody put together a contest.
It was a huge battle culminating with the nighttime battle between the Ohio Dancers and Project 5.
It was so rowdy. I mean, it just got us going, right? It was the energy of the crowd that really got us going.
I think we did stuff that nobody ever saw. Not only did we have our good standard routine around breakdancing, but we incorporated gymnastics and backflipping.
And we smashed Ohio Breakers, we smashed every crew there. And that was probably the biggest, best day of me being with Project 5.
And really solidified, I think, Project 5 as the preeminent group in the city of Cleveland, and we went on to do many great things thereafter.
This Tuesday, Project 5 will be appearing on Morning Exchange, so let's give them a hand for that too, huh? They gotta be good to do that.
We're the only breakdancing group that had a whole segment on the Morning Exchange.
I wonder, Matthew, what is your brief definition of what breakdancing is?
Breakdancing is just movement or body movement on the floor, and it's a different type of dance. It's with gymnastics and rhythm dancing all involved in one.
Yeah, if you got to the Morning Exchange, you were really doing it for breakdancing in Cleveland.
At the end of every performance, we would do this move. It was called the helicopter.
It's like one cat doing this, another cat doing that, and it was crazy.
So we'll kind of conclude here with the human helicopter, right?
You want to maybe raise the boom a little?
Yeah, the boom's going to have to be out of the way because these guys are going to go straight up.
Right. The old, now the new one.
We were like the only group that was doing it. I mean, nobody was doing it, and it was our way of trying to stretch breakdancing further.
Tell us a little about the costumes you're wearing. These are warm-up suits.
Yeah,
here.
nylon warm-up jogging suits because, you know, they're slippery and they're easier to use when you spin on the ground or do your other moves.
We could perform and wear literally 8 or 9 different outfits.
We were the only ones in the city of Cleveland, east side or west side, that had matching Puma suits.
We'd go downtown and shop on East 4th Street, and we would try and find whatever color Levi's we could that weren't blue.
The shoes, they're pretty extraordinary. They're just regular Pumas, and we have Pumas and Adidas that my group wears.
The guys really love to flare out their shoes with the fat shoelaces.
And we just wear nice fat shoelaces to sport them out.
I still haven't got the Pumas that I wanted. You know, they gave me some Mark 5s. I don't have a grudge about that, but I still remember that, but everybody else got their Pumas.
I learned how to sew myself to take in the pants so they were tight at the ankles, so then I could wear my Pumas with my fat strings without tying them and people could see them. My 10-year-old daughter would just laugh at me if I told her the kind of clothes we wore, you know.
I'd say Project 5 was known for its diversity. We were from all over the West Side, different backgrounds, different ethnicities.
Everybody was united, blacks, whites, Puerto Ricans, you know. You name it, long as you had something to bring to the table.
One time we had to do a show in Little Italy, and Matt he said, no, we're all going to Little Italy. Black, white, Hispanic, it don't matter. We're a crew, we're Project 5, and that's exactly what we did.
Diversity was cool. There was no group that was more diverse than Project 5, and that's probably what I'm most proud of.
It was just a different experience. I mean, I was a kid from the suburbs. I think I've ever been to Cleveland. Meeting all these kids from the city, it was a cool experience.
A lot of people we knew were going to jail and stuff like that, and it kept me out of that. It gave me something to do.
It gave me a lot of confidence in just to talk to people, to perform, and to feel like I was doing something that I was born to do.
The years that Matt and I spent with Project 5 will always be special.
We were that support fabric that supported and loved one another. We were a family. We worked well with one another. And I'm appreciative now looking back on that little moment in time, what I was able to do, but more importantly, what those kids were able to do for me.
If I could change everything, I wouldn't change a thing. I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, and I also made mistakes, but I wouldn't change a thing.
But right now, let's go over to the south end of our studio and join lovely Miss Eaton Harvest Queen, Sammy Hall.
Thank you. And I'm here with
Matt Zone, and these are Project 5 break dancers. Here they are.
Okay.
All right, Project 5. Excellent group.
Put the left foot back.